Good morning, guys. It's Ryan from Husky Moving here, Arlington, Massachusetts, serving the greater Boston area. We are full service, residential and commercial moving company. We do assembly work, we do handyman work, we do disposal, we do, what else do we do? Any kind of like light jobs around the house, we try to take care of if we can. Piano moving, hoisting, specialty moves like that. All the above. I want to talk to you guys something that's business related, but not like moving or assembly industry related today. It's actually an interesting concept. I was kind of fascinated by this when I heard about it. I was at a dinner party at Thanksgiving, I think a couple of years ago. My brother-in-law's nieces were asking me about the business, and one of them casually mentioned, I think it was a book she was reading, or maybe an article, a YouTube video or something. I don't even know what it was. She said something about a business concept called a talk trigger, which I had never heard of before. No idea what she was talking about. But she started to explain to me what it was. And I was kind of fascinated by it because I started thinking about it during dinner. And so we kind of started chatting at dinner about it. And the gist of the idea is that a talk trigger is something that forces people to talk about your business and your service. And so people have this kind of idea that, and actually I have it too, I'm as guilty of this as anyone. If you do good business, if you conduct yourself well, basically if you do a good job, people are going to talk about you. And that's on some level, most likely, probably true. But the larger point of a talk trigger is by default, if you're really good at your job and you're trying to be, like an honorable businessman, you're no different than the four other people in your town that are also good businessmen that are also trying to be honorable. So in Arlington, Massachusetts, for example, there's a bunch of different moving companies. And it seems like everyone really, really loves all the moving companies, which is great. That's good for customers. That's good for me because it forces me to be better. So that's actually a really good thing. The problem is when you go online and, for example, when someone recommends movers, they'll go through on like Facebook, for example, and like, I'm not even exaggerating, there'll be like 30 people in there and they're all listing the same 6 companies saying, oh my God, we had an amazing experience with this one of 6 companies. And so by default, all those 6 companies are kind of the same. Like there's no, what's the difference? They all do a great job. So which one do you call? I don't know. The concept of a talk trigger is a little bit different. It basically uses human nature to get people talking about you and advertising for you on your behalf. And so you're probably listening to this going, of course that's what I want people to do. Of course I want that's what people do. And it is, but more than likely, you're not actually causing them to talk about you. You're probably doing a really good job, and by default, you're probably getting some recommendations for sure, because I know that's what's happening with me. But there's not like a firestorm behind my name. And the concept of a talk trigger is that you do something that's out of the ordinary, that's so out of the ordinary that people have no choice but to talk about it. And so by talking about it, every time they talk about it, they're talking about your business. Every time they do that, they're advertising for you. So for example, the goal of a talk trigger is you figure out something that's slightly related to your industry or business, and then you do it so overwhelmingly well that people have no choice but to discuss it. So example of talk triggers would be, I forget the hotel chain name, which is actually not a good advertisement for this video, but it's only because I very rarely go to hotels. It's not because I don't care about the idea. The hotel chain that gives the cookies when you walk in, they have freshly baked cookies right when you walk in. Everyone talks about those cookies. Everyone. You go online and you look at reviews for that company, and every review mentions the cookies. Literally, every review. Now, there's a million hotel chains. Nobody gives a shit. It's a bed, place to sleep. Some of them are nicer than others, for sure. But realistically, you're not going to go crazy talking about a hotel unless it's like really over the top nice. Or, if you think about it logically, they give you cookies. Because nobody else gives you cookies. And so, of course you're going to talk about it. If I walked into a grocery store and there was a stripper in the front of it, that's all I would talk about. Because every grocery store on the planet has bananas. I don't give a shit. But if it had a stripper there, that's all I would mention. That's all anyone would mention. It's a stripper. I'm using this guy's examples, so I'm blatantly plagiarizing the video I read, his work. All I'm doing is parodying what he said, but they're just good examples. I'm not trying to say that I created the wheel. I'm more just talking to you guys as businessmen to give you an idea, something that I didn't know about that I think is a brilliant idea. There's another restaurant, I don't even know where it's located, it's somewhere in the middle of the country, and they do, at the end of every meal, they'll pull out a deck of cards, and I believe if you pull a joker, you get a free meal. And so what has wound up happening is that I don't even know what the number is, the percentage of, if you figure out a deck of cards, one card out of the entire deck is probably like, I don't know, less than 5%, maybe like 3% or something like that, 2.5%. Chance of having to give away a free meal. But what's wound up happening is they'll have like entire high school teams will come down and go out to eat with the hopes that they can get a free meal. And then assuming, if it's like, let's say 3%, 3 out of every 100 people that go through there get a free meal. Those 3 people go crazy talking about how cool their experience was and how they got a free, it's not even a big deal. It's like a free $10 hamburger. Like, what does it cost the company? Maybe like $3 or something? I don't even know. I have no idea. The point of the story is, like, all those high school kids, if you think about it logically, if a team of high school kids, like a basketball team, for example, let's say 15 kids comes in, wins a free meal, the next day they're going into school, all they're doing is talking about that free meal to everyone that will listen, because they're so excited about the free meal, because you know how young boys like to eat. That's all they're going to be talking about, and it makes sense. And so I actually really like that idea, because for a couple of reasons. It's simple. It's easy to pull off. You can carry around a deck of cards with you everywhere you go. It's pretty, it doesn't take up a lot of room. It's really not like a high cost of entry or anything. It's just a deck of cards. That's it. And so my thought process was kind of steal that idea, because I was trying to think of things in the moving industry. And so I don't want to say it's tough. I just wasn't able to come up with anything that was stellar, I don't think. So my thought was, I got a deck of cards printed up with my logo on it. And then what I was going to do was, at the end of every job, I would pull out the deck of cards without saying anything. Like, I don't advertise that or anything. The whole point is that other people advertise for you. So you don't want to advertise it, I don't think. The goal is that you pull out deck of cards and people are like, what the hell are you doing? What's the deck of cards for? And then you're like, oh, we're doing a new promotion or something. And then they're like, wait, what are you talking about? And you explain to them, you're like, I'm gonna shuffle the cards, and if you pull out a joker, there's 2 jokers in the deck, so 54 cards, 56, I don't know, either way. If you pull out a joker, the move's on me. And they're like, wait, what? What the hell are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, move's on me. Pull a joker, move's on me. Show them the 2 jokers. And if they pull a joker, now if you think about it logically, again, it's like, I think 3%-ish chance you would lose that money for sure. People spend countless money on advertising. It's not uncommon in many businesses to spend up to 20% of revenue, I believe, on advertising. So if I told you, you probably have a very visceral reaction to that. Like, I don't want to do that. Why would I give up 3% of my money? But if you think about it logically, giving up 3% of every dollar is like, obviously not a lot. What amount of advertising would that generate for you for the people that actually hit? Let's say you have a $500 move, and these people are expecting to pay a lot of money. They've been stressing about the move and how much it's going to cost, and because a lot of people do, that's their biggest pain point, is that stress of they don't know how much it's going to. It's not like going to buy a stereo at Best Buy where you know it's going to be $130. A move is based on time, so they don't know how much it's going to cost, so they stress about it, which I understand. They've had all this stress for all this time, and then the day of the move, they win a free move or a free assembly job. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to go nuts telling people how excited they are. They're going to, every time, assuming they had a good move, which you should be giving them anyway if you're a good mover, they're already happy. And now they got a free move on top of it. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to blow up your spot everywhere they have. So you lost $500 for sure. You lost $500. You also have to pay out the revenue to your employees. So let's call it, I don't know, however long the move costs. Let's just say, for shits and giggles, let's call it another $150. So $650 now you're out of pocket, quote unquote, although you're not really. $650. How much revenue is that going to generate for you? Do you think that it's realistic that that would book you one other move from all their circle of people? One other move, is that realistic? Of course it is. It's way more than it's way undervaluing what that amount of advertising would be worth. But even if it books one more move you wouldn't have booked otherwise, it's now paid for itself. So anything over and above that is now just money in the bank. See what I'm saying? Let me go get this deck of cards. Let me see if I can get it real quick. Bear with me. I should have had this ready to go, but like a moron, I just decided to do this video on a whim because it's rainy in Boston and it's shitty, and I got very little work today, so I'm trying to keep busy. Hang tight. All right, so here's. Let's see if I can do this correctly. I had my business logo put on the cards. Should have had these up, ready to go, right side up. Help if I had these props ready to go before the video started. Deck of cards. Got some jokers in here somewhere. So you had 2 jokers. Flip them upside down, pick a card. Get a joker, get a free move. So I haven't actually implicated? Implicated is the wrong word. Implemented. Jesus. What a mess I am this morning. I think I was out drinking last night. I haven't implemented this yet. Not because I don't think it's a good idea. I'm just trying to figure out the right way to bring it out into the field. I should probably just stop thinking about it and do it. But I do think it's a good idea because anytime you have an idea that people are going to talk about without them, the goal is you want someone to not be able to talk about it. Not have to talk about it. They have to talk about it, meaning it was so extraordinary. It was so out of the realm of what they would have expected. They expected a good business. They expected a good business to come in and unclog their toilet. That's what they expected. That's why they called you. You get good reviews. That's why they called you. Okay, great. But by default, you're no different than any of the other guys that unclog toilets, literally. So it's, pretty benign experience. It was good. You unclogged the toilet. Cool, I guess. What if the guy who unclogged the toilet showed up with a, I don't know, plate of burritos? You'd talk about it, wouldn't you? Because you wouldn't expect it. Why the hell does the guy have free burritos? I don't get it, but I love it. I just got free burritos. Of course you're going to talk about that. That's extraordinary. You don't expect it. Nobody does it except for that guy. So by default, he's different than everyone else. And so you understand my point. It doesn't need to be a plate of burritos, but something that's going to get you people talking that's not just you doing a good job. Something over and above that. Something extraordinary, whether it's really over-the-top customer service. Other examples I've heard of, there's a well-known example, Gary Vee did something way when he started. I forget exactly the specifics, but some guy ordered a case of wine that was like $5,000 or something. And Gary went online and found out that his, I think his favorite football team was the Bears, I want to say. It doesn't matter the story. His favorite football team. He found his favorite football team. He found his favorite player. He found an autographed jersey and had it sent to the guy. So it probably cost, I don't know, all in, let's call it $300 or something. He lost $300 worth of profit, but he sent this guy a jersey. The guy rebooked another case of wine like 3 days later after he got the jersey or something. So $5,000, lost $3,000, but he didn't really lose it. It's like an advertising or whatever you want to call it. Gained $5,000, lost $300, gained another $5,000. I'm not saying that guy wouldn't have reordered for sure. He probably would have at some point, but was he going to reorder 3 days later? Most likely not. Do you think this guy went around his town firing off to everyone about how he just got a free signed Peyton Manning jersey or whatever it was, out of the blue, came in the mail one day from a random wine distributor he had never met? Chewy.com is well known for, if you have an issue with any of their products, they encourage you to donate them to shelters rather than return them for money. So Chewy loses the money on returning that profit, but they gain incredible word of mouth. People talk about that all the time online when discussing Chewy, about how they do that. I can't even imagine the volume that they give away to shelters. That's another what I would consider to be a talk trigger. What else can I think of? I've heard of businesses, um, if someone had a job booked with me, and then I got a message saying that um, they had to cancel for like a family member passed away or something like that. I've heard of businesses sending flowers to people they had never met before. It was just a person who had booked a job with them, never met them, just talked with them on the phone or email or whatever, and sent them flowers, which incredible gesture. And because it's a wake, there's that idea of like you're trying to like monetize a wake, but like get away from that for a second. But it's just a gesture of like you standing out and being extraordinary from what other people would do. Most people don't do that, so by default, of course, they're most likely going to talk about you. So these are the things to think about, guys. Again, called the talk trigger. I'm not an expert on it by any stretch, but I did want to throw this out there because it's one of those things. When you think about it, I always had this idea that like if I was really good at business, people would just blow my shit up. Like, of course they would, because I'm really good at business. And I don't necessarily think that that's untrue, but if you take it a step further and you think about it logically, the way this guy explained it, which is by default, you're no different. It's like the guy who's like a really good boyfriend. Like, if you're a really good boyfriend, all right, wonderful, that's great. But by default, you're no different than all the other really great boyfriends out in the world. You have to do something that everyone else isn't doing to be memorable. And it's the same with business. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, guys. If you want to get a hold of me, my email information is in the back end of the video, as is the website. All right, and as always, if you enjoyed the content, if you could like and share and subscribe, I would really appreciate it, guys. All right, thanks for listening.